Hello, I wanted to talk a little bit today, just briefly, about something that's called functional neurological disorder, or sometimes we might call functional tic disorder, or many other kinds of names. This seems to actually describe a larger group of different kinds of symptoms or concerns that we might see. And it's not as simple as just saying like, oh, well, it's this one thing here, and that's what we need to do. So sometimes we're seeing really sudden onset of severe tics, which might be a wide variety of tics. They may have a much higher frequency than what we would typically observe with Tourette's or other persistent tic disorders. And they are often more varied. Like with Tourette's, we usually see a handful, so to speak, of persistent tics, and they don't change a lot. But in cases where we're seeing what's also sometimes called functional tic-like behaviors, we might see many different tics, and they may not consistently present in the same way. Now, one thing I want to be really clear about with this, though, is that when individuals experience this, it is genuinely distressing. It is not being faked. They're not performing or pretending to have tics. They're actually experiencing a genuinely intense and distressing or bothersome tics that they cannot control. The reason why is perhaps not as clear as we would like it to be. This seems to be a disorder that we don't have yet a great deal of information about. It's not that we don't have any information, it's just we don't have as much as we would like to have. It's usually been much rarer. We've not seen it as very frequent before, but here within the past year, we've been seeing a lot more of it. And there may be a lot of things that are contributing to that, including a pandemic, all of the additional challenges that come about with being confined to the home for a longer period of time or unable to see one's friends or other social activities. All of these things can contribute to an increase in the amount of distress a person experiences, and that can feed into something like what we are seeing with functional neurological disorders. Now, with that said, there is some good information out there about it. So we're not completely helpless in understanding it as a disorder. In fact, now I want to see if I can pull up one of the more useful resources I have found for this. There's the Mayo Clinic, of course, has useful, credible, good information. The National Institute of Health also has good, useful information about it. So both of those are good sources. Then there's also, I think it's just a second, let's see. Yes, okay. There's also a website called neurosymptoms.org. Not that I have a way to show that on the screen, but neuro, N-E-U-R-O, symptoms.org. All as one word, and they seem to have excellent resources and information about this disorder. One of the most important things we find when dealing with this type of disorder is for the individual to try to be able to get back to living their life in whatever meaningful ways they can for themselves. The effect is real. We know it's going to impact things. We know it's going to get in the way, but we want to try to be able to get back to living and not attending as much to the symptoms themselves. That tends to sort of create that ongoing feedback effect. So that's just a little bit of information I wanted to provide today. I've noticed while I'm doing this that my vision keeps going down to the left here because that's what my screen is giving me to focus on. I prefer to be able to look up here at the camera because then it looks like I'm actually looking at you. So just a thought that I had for my own mind. All right. As usual, if there are any questions, I would encourage you to contact me at galleon.tube@gmail.org or through whatever social media resource this has become available through. And that's all I've got for right now. Thank you.